In our today's video number 6, under the Indian economy from 1950 to 1990, we are going to discuss industry and growth in trade. In the first 5-year plan, we learnt the importance that was given to the agricultural sector. Now, why are industries important? The agriculture sector forms the base or provides raw materials for the industries. Now, the importance of industries is because they serve as the epicenter of economic growth. The GDP rises, and there is a structural transformation in the economy. They act as a source of employment and growth of civilization. That is, they bring in urbanization, which improves the quality of life. It also leads to infrastructural growth in an economy. That is, transportation and communication improve, the banking and the insurance services, power generation, and all of them are promoted. So the second 5-year plan, which was between 1956 to 1961, focused on the industrial sector. In this plan, the public sector units were given more importance, which brought in rapid industrialization, and this was based on the model given by P.C. Mahalanobis in the year 1953. Now, why public sector units were given more importance is, at that point of time, we needed social justice or social welfare. And hence, these public sector units, which were backed by the government, were given more importance than the private sector because at that point of time, we were not ready for profit maximization. The private sector units look into profit maximization. Now, the seventh 5-year plan, which was between 1985 and 1990, also gave importance to the industrial sector. Here, for the first time, the private sector got priority over the public sector units. Since for so long, they only used to substitute the public sector units. Now, during this time, the growth target was estimated to be 5%, but it achieved a growth rate of 6%. Now, in the pre-independence period, the industries were largely confined to cotton, textiles, and jute. And we had the iron and steel industries located in Jamshedpur and one in Kolkata. The first 5-year plan, which was from 1951 to 1956, as we discussed, the main aim was the agricultural development, which saw a growth rate of 3.6%. The second 5-year plan from 1956 to 1961 aimed at industrial development, and the growth rate was 4.1%. The reason for the emphasis on the industrial development was because of the reasons like poor nations can progress only if they have good industrial sector. Then industries also provide employment, which is more stable than employment in the agricultural sector. And it also promotes modernization and hence overall prosperity. The public sector units were given more importance, and the private sector was only complementary to the public sector. The reasons behind this is there was not much capital with the government to be invested. Then secondly, it could not undertake major projects because the market was not big enough. And more importance was given to welfare than profit maximization. And also, the reason behind was that the government could have more control on what to produce. In order to build the basis for socialist pattern of a society, the Industrial Policy Resolution 1956, otherwise commonly called IPR 1956, was brought in, which classified the industries into 3 categories. The first category included exclusively those industries exclusively owned by the states. The second category consisted of the private sector that would supplement the public sector, which would take a lead to start newer units. So only the public sector units were allowed to start new units, and the private sector only had to supplement the products of the public sector. Now, the third category included the remaining industries in the private sector. However, they had some conditions to be followed. That is, if they had to start a new industry, then they had to obtain license from the government. However, certain concessions were given to start a new industry in the backward regions because this would promote upliftment of the backward regions, improvement in the condition of the backward regions. If the private sector units wanted to expand or diversify their production also, they had to obtain license from the government. So it was very easy to obtain a license if the industrial unit was established in a economically backward area. And also they would get tax benefits, electricity at lower tariff, etc. This policy was only to promote regional equality. Now, to ensure the quantity of goods produced was not more than what the economy required, licensing was necessary. That was about the larger or big industries. In order to promote the interests of the small scale industries, Carway Committee was set up in the year 1955. This promoted village and small scale industries for rural development. Now, why rural development? Because here small scale industries are more labor intensive because they'll be in the rural areas. And this would encourage to generate more employment for the rural people. And the government reserved certain number of products which would be brought out or produced only by the small scale industries. These small scale industries were given certain concessions like lower excise duty, bank loans at lower interest rates, only to promote and protect these small scale industries. Now, what is a small scale industry? It is defined as that which has a maximum limit of 5 lakhs. So in 1950, the limit for this, the investment that would be made would be 5 lakhs. But today, in the present conditions, the investment is equal to 1 crore rupees. So this maximum investment is allowed up to 1 crore of rupees to be called as a small scale industry. So with reference to the maximum investment allowed on the assets of a unit, this limit has changed over a period of time. And in 1950, a small scale industry unit invested only 5 lakh rupees, and today it is 1 crore of rupees. All right. So the two questions that would be very important over here are, why was public sector given a leading role in industrial development initially? Because of the reason would be because of social welfare and social justice. Then the second question is role of these small scale industries and role of government in protecting them. Okay, so this is also to protect the rural areas and rural employment and the upliftment of the rural areas. Okay,